Chapter 61. You are listening at Novelful.audio. Kasumi. Of. Mound. Poetry. Feather. Lily yelled, though silently. Are you trying to mess with me? Just let me go. Let me die. Lily suddenly started to struggle. Nangong Yan hugged her tighter, afraid she'd slip away. What if Lily was too sensitive and did something drastic? Since she wants to die, fine. Let her. Yan, you can't keep her locked up forever, Kasumigakaka Shiyu said, changing tactics and deliberately pushing Iriri's buttons. That bitch. Iriri's pigtails practically vibrated with rage. She wanted to bite Kasumigakaka Shiyu. Ignoring Nangong Yan, she jumped out of his arms. I can't die until I've taken down a woman like you. Kasumigakaka Shiyu immediately smiled. Oh. Great. Lily froze. That woman had baited her perfectly. And now she had her opening. You. Hello, Editor Ida. I'm Shiha Kasumigakaka. Just call me Shiha. Shiyu said, ignoring Lily. You don't mind me introducing myself, do you? Sure. I'll call you Shiyu. Ayano replied, beaming. Kasumigakaka-sensei seems to like me already. Iriri. Sawamura, Spencer, Eri. You can call me Eri Kashiwagi, Lily said, defeated. Ayano quickly responded, okay, and just like with Shiyu, I'll call you Lily. Then Nanami chimed in cautiously, could I ask who Miles Kashiwagi is? That was my pen name when I drew Dojinshi, Lily admitted, shocking everyone. Nangong Yan figured Lily might actually be able to face the name Kashiwagi Miles in the future. Dojinshi, like, that kind of thing. Xiao Chihai's face flushed brighter. Yes, exactly the kind you're thinking of. Dojinshi. Lily, are you breaking yourself by exposing all of this about you? Oh, Nanami was about to faint from embarrassment. This girl was so shy. Ayano felt more and more like Nangong Yan's circle was super interesting. She had a feeling these people were headed for some wild times. Seeing Nanami about to pass out, Nangong Yan quickly said, Come on, Ayano, let me introduce you to the other members. This is Megumi Kato, my assistant. She specializes in scripting and has helped me a lot in other areas too. Hello, Ms. Ayano. I'm Megumi Kato. Oh, hello, Kato-san. Ayano paused and asked Nangong Yan quietly, Hey, Yan, is it just me, or is Kato-san super cute, right? Ayano. Nangong Yan seemed to see Ayano's confusion. I'm not kidding. If you tried to find her a week ago, you wouldn't have been able to, believe it or not. She could easily sneak up on you without you even knowing. Kato Megumi. I heard everything you said. But now, you don't have to look for her at all. It's a total turnaround, right? Don't you think that contrast is cute? Nangong Yan said emotionally, what the heck? Is she a ninja? And the contrast is cute? More importantly, are you complimenting her? Because it sounds like you're roasting her, Ayano couldn't even find the words, the whole thing was so messed up. Well, she is pretty cute, and the more I look, the more I agree, this guy's wild, Ayano thought. Finally, this girl who's about to faint is our newest member, Ms. Nanami Aoyama, the first voice actress in our group, Nangong Yan announced. Chihai, on the verge of a meltdown, stammered, Why, why did you have to introduce me like that? So embarrassing. Who told you to be so shy? How are you feeling now? Chihai touched her burning face and pouted, You did that on purpose, didn't you? You're so mean, Yen-kun. A voice actress, and so cute, both in looks and personality, Ayano observed, making Nanami blush even harder. Yeah. Cute and stuff. Where can I find any? Nangong Yan, sensing that Nanami was about to pass out, sighed and said to Ayano, are you doing this on purpose? Is it really okay to tease her like this? Ayano smiled. Hamira, don't you think she's cute? Of course, she's cute. Nangong Yan blurted out without thinking. But you know she's shy, so wait until she's not shy anymore before you compliment her. Bang, Chihai was a smoking heap, passed out from the heat. Nangong Yan, already prepared, scooped her up and, to the envy of the other girls, carried her back to her room, princess style. When he returned, Ayano's expression was knowing. Hamira, I'm convinced. You're one sneaky guy. Nangong Yan just shrugged. Takes one to know one. Mashiro asked worriedly, how's Nanami? Sleeping like a baby, Kato Kia reported. Yen-kun, is this really okay? Making Nanami-chan faint like that? She needed a good nap. She's been carrying too much weight on her shoulders. Yes, this was the only way Nanami could really relax. She'd been pushing herself hard and needed the break. Everyone nodded, putting aside their momentary envy. After all, Nanami could feel everything, even asleep, but still, they were jealous. That was probably Nangong Yan's first princess carry. And he'd given it to Nanami, who'd just joined. Next time, it'll be me. They all thought in unison. Had this sparked something extraordinary? Achoo! Sajiri sneezed, feeling like she'd missed something important. She rubbed her nose and went back to happily drawing. After Nangong Yan signed the contract, he asked, what was the good news you mentioned yesterday? There are 2 pieces of good news. Which one do you want to hear first? Ayano smiled, clearly excited. One of them has to be about getting published in Monthly Girls, right? But what's the other, Star? I want to hear the one that's not about Monthly Girls. Nangong Yan said decisively. I figured you'd pick that one. I didn't think you'd guess one of them, Ayano admitted, surprised. Nangong Yan shrugged. It wasn't exactly rocket science. Ayano raised an eyebrow. So, aren't you going to guess the other one? Nangong Yan closed his eyes, trying to think of anything else that would be considered good news for both of them. After a moment, he opened his eyes and said, does it have something to do with Otanajizuka? Chapter 62. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ayano. Ugh, I'm so bored. I'm never playing this kind of game with you again. Ayano said, pouting. Nangong Yan looked surprised. They agreed. One classmate, Sonoda Umi, was holding out, but with a little convincing, she finally caved. Should be good to go in a day or 2, Ayano said proudly. Awesome, Ayano. You pull this off, and the manga's a go. Nangong Yan cheered. You got it. It's all for the manga. Ayano looked like she was on a mission from God. Hey, Ayano, stick around for dinner. Nangong Yan said suddenly. She was taken aback. She hadn't expected an invitation, but... I'd love to, but I've got stuff at the publishing house. Gotta run. Ayano reluctantly declined. Nangong Yan nodded. Okay, well, you gotta come over sometime and try my cooking. You cook, Hamira? Wow. I'll definitely take you up on that. Ayano exclaimed. Stay tuned. Ayano stood up, said her goodbyes, and left Nangong's house. Now that I think about it, where's this teacher Eromanga that Hamira mentioned? Ayano wondered. She shook her head, figuring something must have come up. She'd probably meet her eventually. Teacher Eromanga was just so mysterious. She was dying of curiosity. Ding dong. The doorbell rang. Nangong Yan looked confused. What was with everyone showing up today? Who could it be now? He opened the door, and an unexpected person stood before him. Aunt Shizuka. Nangong Yan murmured. Yahoo Xiaoyan, long time no see. Shizuka, Sajiri's mom, grinned, stepped forward, and gave Nangong Yan a big hug. Then she said, a little miffed, can you please stop calling me aunt? Nangong Yan didn't pull away or protest. He just let her hug him. If not aunt, what should I call you? You could call me Mom. Shizuka blurted out. Mom's not gonna happen. I guess I'll just call you Shizuka then, Nangong Yan said calmly. Shizuka pouted. You're so stubborn, Xiaoyan. Fine, Shizuka it is. Just no, aunt. Thank you so much for taking care of little Sajiri. This should be my job, really. She whispered in Nangong Yan's ear, and tears welled up in her eyes. Sajiri's like a sister to me, right? So taking care of her comes naturally. Shizuka wiped her eyes and smiled happily. Xiaoyan, you've really grown up. You don't sound like a little kid anymore, but you sure act like one, Nangong Yan thought. Flame Lord, who's this? Kato Megumi asked suddenly from behind Nangong Yan. They were getting antsy waiting for him to open the door. Confused, they came to check it out. Kato Megumi got there first and saw Nangong Yan hugging a beautiful woman she didn't recognize. Just as Nangong Yan was about to speak, Shizuka piped up, girlfriend, that she looked at him with a questioning gaze, and Nangong Yan was about to explain when Shiryu emerged. What's going on? Why was Yanjun with a beautiful woman? Two girlfriends. Shizuka looked at Nangong Yan with disbelief. Nangong Yan. Irie also came out. What? Aunt Nangong. Irie's here too. And by the way, don't call me aunt. Shizuka was totally confused. Why was Irie here? Irie had no choice but to correct herself. So, Sister Shizuka. Shizuka nodded approvingly. Aunt? Kato Megumi and Kasumigakaka Shiyu looked to Irie for answers. She's Sajiri's mom. The two girls immediately understood. No wonder. But Sajiri's mom was so young. Mashiro also appeared at this time. Why is everyone outside? Shizuka. Oh my god. Shizuka almost fainted. She grabbed Nangong Yan's shoulders and demanded, Xiaoyan, what is going on? Nangong Yan rolled his eyes. Isn't this your plan with my dad? Don't act so surprised, Star. They're members of my club. Nangong Yan, losing his patience with being shaken, finally said. Club? What club? Well, Sister Shizuka, why don't we go inside and talk? Let's not stand in the doorway, Lily suggested. Ah. Oh. Right. Shizuka snapped out of it and practically ran inside, waving everyone in. Come on in, come on in. Kato Megumi and Kasumigakaka Shiyu looked at Nangong Yan. Shiyu asked, has Sajiri's mom always been this, scattered? Nangong Yan looked helplessly at Lily. They exchanged a look and nodded to Shiyu and Kato Megumi. As for why Lily nodded, it was because her own mother was the same way, except Yingolai's mom did it on purpose. It was hard to tell with Sajiri's mom. After Nangong Yan closed the door, everyone returned to the living room. Speaking of which, Shizuka, why didn't you just knock and come in? This was the question that had been bugging Nangong Yan from the start. I wanted to surprise you. Shizuka looked dejected. I guess you surprised me instead. Let's get this straight. What club? Nangong. Yan paused, then waved to her. Explaining it will take a while. Come with me. I'll show you, and you'll understand. He led her toward their activity room. Whoa. So that's what it is. Shizuka's face lit up with amazement. Nangong Yan and the others had definitely given her a surprise. Right. Should I tell Xiao-chan? He'll totally back you up. Nangong Yan's mouth twitched. Every time he heard that name, he wanted to burst out laughing. He'd picture Nangong Xiao looking all imposing, and then Shizuka would call him Xiao-chan, and the image would instantly crumble. Lily was shaking with suppressed laughter too. She and Nangong Yan were on the same wavelength. Under Shizuka's puzzled gaze, Nangong Yan finally pulled himself together, shook his head, and said, "No, please keep it a secret. We're good. We'll let him know at the right time. We want to surprise him." Shizuka thought it over, then nodded in agreement. She glanced at Kasumigakaka Shiyu and Kato Megumi. She already knew who Mashiro was. Kasumigakaka Shiyu stepped forward and said, "Nangong, ah. Yes. Sister Shizuka. Good." Shizuka nodded approvingly. "I'm Kasumigakaka Shiyu, the scriptwriter. And this is our..." Kasumigakaka Shiyu hesitated for a second. "Kato Megumi. She's both a life assistant and a scriptwriting apprentice." That seemed accurate enough. Chapter 63. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kato Megumi nodded a greeting to Shizuka after hearing Kasumigakaka Shiyu. "Hello. It's wonderful that Hamura has your support." Shizuka responded warmly. "No matter what, Yanjun's always looking out for us." Which is true, right? So why does it sound like she's being all modest? So humble. See? Shizuka thinks so too. Was that the point? Irie suddenly felt a wave of unease. That sly girl was doing this on purpose. Using her smooth talk to get Shizuka on her side, then Sister Shizuka would definitely tell Uncle Nangong, right? But no one else would call her out on what she's saying. Inglili was racking her brain, she couldn't let her win. Gritting her teeth, Inglili jumped in. "Yeah, Kasumigakaka Shiyu's right, we can't even cook, so Yanjun has to handle it." Kasumigakaka Shiyu's mouth tightened. She stared at Inglili in disbelief. In that instant, they were connected. "Shiyu, what are you talking about?" "Inglili, the truth. Shiyu, why would you do this?" "Inglili, couldn't let you mislead Sister Shizuka. Shiyu, so. You're going to sink us both. Showing her how pathetic we are. Inglili, just not letting you have your way." "Shiyu, what did I ever do to deserve this?" Irie was already regretting it. She wasn't exactly making a good impression. Definitely not bride material. But she just couldn't stand the thought of Kasumigakaka Shiyu outshining her. Even if she had to sabotage herself. Total war. Huh? Shizuka looked confused. Was that all modesty? So, Xiaoyan's been taking care of everyone all by himself. Realizing this, she turned to Nangong Yan, who seemed to know what she was thinking. "Hui and Chihai help out, it's not all me." "Oh." Shizuka understood. She looked at Kato Megumi with a satisfied nod. Kasumigakaka Shiyu and Irie continued to glare at each other. "Shiyu, so, Megumi ended up the winner. Inglili. Shiyu, guess I played myself." Inglili. Wait. Jingxiang sensed something was wrong and looked at Nangong Yan in disbelief. "Nanami, who's that? Has the Nangong household been completely taken over by girls? Did you just realize it now? Nanami's in our club too. She's a voice actress. Her stuff needs to be post-produced." Nangong Yan said matter-of-factly. His casual tone got to Shizuka. "What about this Nanami girl?" Nangong Yan gave Jingxiang all the details about Chihai, and ended by saying, "These days, it's tough to even get her to sleep." Something sounded off, but maybe not. Shizuka wiped away tears, getting all emotional. "Xiaoyan, little Chihai's been through so much. You have to treat her well." Nangong Yan. Women. Why did everything sound so wrong? Kasumigakaka Shiyu laughed bitterly to herself. The real winners are Megumi and Nanami. Didn't expect the homebuddies to be so strong. Maybe I should practice being a bride. I really was also regretting what she had done. She even thought, maybe I should ask Mom for advice. "Don't worry, I'll take good care of everyone. They're all members of my club, my friends, and irreplaceable people to me, so I'll definitely protect them." Nangong Yan announced, and those words echoed in the girls' hearts. They were moved, but also a little embarrassed. They hadn't expected Nangong Yan to say something like that. Ing Lily and Kasumigakaka Shiyu thought the same thing. Do I need to change? Sa-ran smiled. We'll think about that later. Only Mashiro was on her phone, fiddling with something. Hamura's really grown up. Jingxiang smiled, but when Nangong Yan looked at her, her smile seemed mischievous. Nangong Yan thought he had it all figured out. Was Jingxiang shady, too? Nangong Yan said calmly, speaking of which, Shizuka, you're back. Why don't you go see Sajiri? Shizuka stiffened. Didn't I want to surprise little Sajiri? Her voice was a little forced. How did you know Sajiri could leave her room? Huh. Sajiri can go out. That's great. Something's definitely wrong here. Oh. So you didn't know? That's right. I mentioned Sajiri was about to leave her room, but didn't expect it to be so soon, right? Nangong Yan smiled. Shizuka gave up. I haven't seen little Sajiri in ages. I've been a little nervous, so I haven't figured out how to meet her or what to say after. Nangong Yan said playfully, what a clueless mom. Just go see her. Why would a mom need a plan to see her daughter? And you always talk online. Why the hesitation? Shizuka retorted, online and real life aren't the same. So why not go see her? Shizuka. Okay. Let's go. Nangong Yan grabbed her and pulled her upstairs. He also called Ing Lily to bring the little one along. Wait, Xiaoyan, let me get ready. Nangong Yan ignored her, went straight to Sajiri's door, and knocked. Shizuka. Big brother. Sajiri's voice came from inside. It's me, Sajiri, open the door. As soon as the door opened, Nangong Yan shoved Jingxiang inside. Winking, Yang also followed. Wait. Sajiri, let's have a nice chat. Nangong Yan closed the door on them and said to Ing Lily, hold her here for a bit and don't let her escape. Ing Lily found it funny. I'll hold down the fort. Then asked him, where are you going? Me. I'm going to make dinner. It's almost evening already. It was Ayano earlier, then Shizuka. Time flew without doing club activities. Make something good. Chapter 64. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Truth. Someone needs to wake up Nanami and get her to the table. Dinner was nearly over when Nangong Yan asked Mashiro to rouse Nanami. Okay, I'm on it. Ing Lily. Can you hear me? Chow time. Nangong Yan yelled again. Hearing this, Ing Lily knocked on the door, urging the mother and daughter to come eat. After all, priorities, right? Kato Megumi just stared, speechless. Seriously? You couldn't ask me to do that for you. Finally, everyone gathered at the table. Nangong Yan frowned. Mashiro, where's Nanami? I thought you were going to get her. He knew Mashiro must have gone, so something was up. Nanami's asleep. You didn't wake her. That didn't sound right. Nangong Yan looked puzzled. I woke Nanami. She asked what was going on, and I showed her my phone. Then she fell asleep again. Mashiro, eyes glued to a giant pineapple bread, replied matter-of-factly. Nangong Yan suddenly felt a sense of impending doom. What exactly did you show her? Mashiro reluctantly looked away from the bread, tapped a few times on her phone, and then a voice blared out, Hamura, Xiao Nanhai has suffered so much. You have to treat her right. They're members of my club, my friends. They're important to me, irreplaceable. I will protect them, no question. Everyone was stunned, floored by Mashiro's totally unexpected move. Mashiro put away her phone. That's all. Nangong Yan's eye twitched. Mashiro, when did you start recording? From when you asked Shizuka why she didn't just open the door and come in. So, from the very beginning? No wonder you said Nanami fell back asleep. She passed out from embarrassment, didn't she? Nangong Yan blurted, without missing a beat. Nanami was asleep, and I thought she should know, so I recorded it. Mashiro said this with no emotion in her voice. Nangong Yan forced a smile. So, now that Nanami knows, can we delete it? Nope. Why not? Nangong Yan blurted out. Mashiro paused. Because it's what Yen said to everyone. It makes me feel all warm inside, so I want to keep it. Everyone thought, *oops. I misjudged her. This girl isn't calculating at all, Nangong Yan sighed. What could he say? What did I miss? Sajiri asked, her voice muffled. Try leaving your room more often, then. Nangong Yan retorted, not even turning around. Sajiri just stayed silent. Shizuka jumped in, changing the subject. So, Mashiro, how are you liking it here? Are you settling in okay? Mashiro nodded vigorously. Great. Hamura is my number one. He's a really nice guy. He's taught me a lot, and everyone takes good care of me. I'm very happy. Scratch that. She is evil, If this was when they first met Mashiro, all the girls would have been glaring daggers at Nangong Yan, right? But they're almost used to Mashiro's occasional curveball comments. However, one person wasn't used to it. What happened the first time? Hamura. Did you expose Mashiro to the harsh realities of life already? Jingxiang said, sounding genuinely panicked. No, chill. You can tell everyone's reactions haven't changed, right? Nangong Yan said weakly. Shizuka had asked panicky questions like this a few times. After hearing Nangong Yan's answer, she turned to her daughter Sajiri. Little Sajiri, can you explain it to your mom? Sajiri looked slightly embarrassed. What Mashiro-san means is that her brother is her first male friend, and he taught her a lot, like common sense and comics. It's not what you think, Sajiri finished. Hearing Sajiri's explanation, Shizuka wasn't embarrassed at all. She just shrugged and said, oh, okay. I get it. Mashiro really has a knack for saying things in a misleading way. Nangong Yan shook his head, defeated. These people were all a little off, but that's what made things interesting. Let's eat. I'll save Nanami's portion for when she wakes up. And Mashiro's practically drooling. Nangong Yan said. All eyes went to Mashiro, practically hypnotized by the pineapple bread, eyes gleaming, mouth watering, but still lacking the courage to take the first bite. Okay, I'm starting now. Wow! Jingxiang exclaimed after her first bite. Xiaoyan, did you make all this? Nangong Yan nodded. I didn't realize your cooking skills had gotten so good. Jingxiang said. I'm suddenly jealous of Sajiri, getting to eat this every day. Jingxiang murmured. Suddenly, she smacked her hand on the table. I've decided. Even if it's just for the food, I'm coming back more often. Sajiri stayed silent. Nangong Yan did as well. Can't it be for Sajiri? What the hell? Maybe Sajiri also thought she had a fake mom, right? One who valued delicious food more than her own child. Once everyone had eaten their fill and the dishes were done, they gathered on the sofa in the living room. Shizuka, the only one who actually ate a lot, lay back and watched Yang curled up in Nangong Yan's arms. Xiaoyan, is this the cat you and Xiaochan were talking about? She was curled up in Sajiri's room just now. Yep, she's cute, right? Nangong Yan said proudly. Jingxiang scrutinized Yang, watching her licking her paws, rubbing against Nangong Yan's palm, and kneading the back of his hand with her little paws. So cute. She said. I know, right? Lily thought to herself, he's acting like the proud brother whose sister got a compliment or the proud father whose daughter got a compliment. That she knew Nangong Yan thought of Yang as family, so his behavior wasn't surprising, so she didn't say it out loud. By the way, Jingxiang, you're the only one who came. Didn't Uncle Nangong come back? Lily asked. She seemed to realize something. Actually, it feels a little uncomfortable saying that. It's like I am taking advantage of him. Chapter 65. You are listening at novelfull.audio. From now on, I'll just call you Yan. Uncle Nangong, we'll call him Uncle Gongxiao. Lily said, trying to sound casual while looking at Kasumagakaka Shiyu with a knowing glint in her eyes. Nangong Yan shrugged. Don't worry about it. We're practically family, call me whatever you want. Humph, Lily retorted playfully. After they quieted down, Shizuka chimed in, Xiao-chan is swamped. I only handle a small part for him, mostly just keeping him company and painting on the side. So, for now, I'm the only one who has time to come back and check on Zayasajiri and Hamura. Lily understood. It was a similar situation to her father, except he was more free and helped sell doujinshi and other stuff. Yan, go for it. Xiao Jiang and I are both rooting for you. Of course I'll succeed. If I don't, wouldn't that be a major flop? Time zipped by to Saturday, and Shizuka left after just one night. Today was the day the latest issue of Mankey Weekly hit the shelves. Nangong Yan, along with his group of 5 girls and 1 cat, arrived early, ready to grab a copy and see what readers thought. They definitely turned heads. After all, a group of good-looking people always do, especially when it's one guy with 5 girls. Some guys were definitely jealous. Nangong Yan held a tablet displaying Sajiri as teacher Eromanga. Yang was nestled in Nanami's arms. Besides Nangong Yan and Sajiri, the little cat seemed to like Kato Megumi and Aoyama Nanami the most, even though Nanami spent the least time with her. This often sparked envy from Lily, who tried hard to bond with Yang, but wasn't making as much progress as Nanami. Nangong Yan had even asked the little guy why, but he couldn't explain it, just saying he felt more comfortable with Megumi Kato and Nanami. Nangong Yan shrugged, telling Lily to keep trying. Sajiri, how does it feel? You haven't been outside in ages. Don't you miss it? Nangong Yan asked Sajiri online. Nope. Sajiri replied instantly. Nangong Yan sighed. I thought you were going to work on improving your weak points. You can't paint scenery from inside all the time. Sajiri was quiet for a moment, then smiled and said, hee, I'm used to it. But don't worry, big brother. I'll try to reach your goal before you start your next project. She sounded very enthusiastic. Nangong Yan hoped she wouldn't regret it later, but he still believed in Sajiri. Kasumagakaka Shiyu suddenly asked, Yan, how does it feel walking down the street with so many beautiful girls? I don't really think about it, I'm used to being with you all, Nangong Yan said, which made their faces drop a bit. He quickly changed his tone, but seeing all the passers-by glaring at me, I realize how lucky I am to be with you. Okay, that was a smooth save. The girls were secretly pleased, though they didn't show it. When they arrived at the Mankey bookstore, there weren't many readers waiting for it to open, but Nangong Yan knew more would come soon. Nangong Yan strained to hear the conversations around him. Ugh, the quality of comics in Mankey Weekly has really tanked lately, huh? You said it. They axed a bunch of titles, and there's nothing worth reading. Really? Not even one good one? Nope. Oh, I heard Mankey Weekly had some kind of contest. Hopefully there will be some new blood soon. I'm not holding my breath. No, you should be hopeful. I brought a comic from another world. You're all in for a treat, star. Lily nudged Nangong Yan with her elbow. Teacher Nangong, these people seem pretty disappointed. What do you think? Nangong Yan replied dramatically, Ms. Lily, Teacher Nangong is hope. Behold. He brings good tidings to the masses. Lily deadpanned, oh. I didn't realize how narcissistic you were. Nangong Yan said modestly, no, I am doing this entirely to cooperate with you, old man. You're an old man. Lily huffed, dissatisfied. Just kidding, if you care, you lose. Lily. Why do I feel like I can't win against this guy? It's open. Let's go check it out. Nanami said excitedly. This is Yan's debut. Everyone rushed inside. Ah, there it is. Kato Megumi spotted it first. A huge poster was on display, featuring Sakura Chio in a girl's prayer pose. It was the cover of the latest issue of Mankey Weekly. They actually used the cover I drew directly. Nangong Yan was surprised. He thought they'd want Ayano to draw something new. But whatever, it showed how detailed Nangong Yan's art was. It looked great blown up. So pretty. Nanami sighed, saying Chio-chan was even cuter in poster form than in the comic. Yeah, that's why they put it on the cover, Kasumigakaka Shiyu said nonchalantly. Sajiri, what do you think? How's the vibe in the bookstore? Feeling tempted to join us? Nangong Yan asked Sajiri via chat. Brothers so awesome. This was Sajiri's honest thought, although it wasn't exactly what Nangong Yan hoped to hear. Then Sajiri should work harder too. Sajiri replied seriously. It seemed meeting her mother had motivated her. Passerby A, what's that? Passerby B, huh? Wow. A cute girl. Is that a new comic? Passerby A, let's check it out. Soon, others noticed the poster, drawing more readers, with thoughts of what shenanigans this cute girl would get into. Readers dove into Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. Pfft. A comedy? I thought it was a shoujo manga. Ha ha ha. You could call it a girl's manga, since it's from the heroine's point of view. Nah, I think Nozaki-kun's perspective is just as valid. Who cares? Just read it. What a great start. Kasumigakaka Shiyu murmured, watching Nangong Yan. Chapter 66. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Readers are really digging it, Nangong Yan thought, pleased. Hey, let's grab a copy before we head back, okay? Chihai suggested. Nangong Yan nodded. I'll buy mine. You guys should hold off until the individual volume comes out later. Sure, Eruri agreed. The single volumes are way cooler to collect. Sawamura, think we'll get even more people buying next week's issue? Kasumigakaka Shiwa asked Eruri. Out of the blue. Eruri looked surprised, but didn't argue. Definitely. And, what about after that? Eruri paused, thinking. Maybe we'll have folks camping out overnight to get a copy. Right now, we're riding high, but it won't be long before. Eruri knew exactly what she meant. Nangong Yan would catch up and zoom past them. Then they'd be the ones chasing after him. Giving up already? Eruri teased. Kasumigakaka Shiwa blinked, then laughed. No way. Kasumigakaka Shiwa never quits. Yeah. Eruri wasn't surprised. She'd expected that answer. I'm actually really lucky to be on this team. If I was just drawing for fun, then where Mashiro and Sajiri are. I don't want to lose to them. Even to someone as amazing as Mashiro. The seriousness in Eruri's voice was clear. Yeah. Kasumigakaka Shiwa smiled, echoing Eruri's sentiment. Then let's root for each other. You don't have to tell me twice. Beep. Eruri stuck her tongue out. Behind them, Kato Megumi and Mashiro had watched the whole exchange. Mashiro, Eruri said, I won't lose to you. Mashiro won't lose. What about Megumi? Mashiro looked at Kato. Me? I can't draw. Kato didn't understand. Seriousness, hard work, competition, progress. Hui, will you lose? Oh, I get it. Kato understood. She realized Mashiro wasn't as clueless as she seemed. It was obvious in what she had just said. If that's the case, then none of us can afford to lose, right? Kato concluded. Including Nanami, Sajiri, and even whoever Hamura drags in later. None of those people are going to give up either, right? Mashiro paused, then nodded. Yeah. Kato looked around at the group and sighed softly. Everyone's getting closer, and the vibe's getting better and better. It's all thanks to Hamura. He's really something else. I got it. Nangong Yan came back with a copy of the magazine. Yen Kuan, did you listen to what people were saying while you were paying? Kasumigakaka Shiwa asked. Of course. Most people were talking about monthly girls. I even skimmed it, and there are 3 chapters this time. Nangong Yan exclaimed. Erori shrugged. Well, Mankey Weekly needed stuff to fill pages and you draw like crazy. It's not a shock at all that you got 3 chapters in. I think it could have been even more. But wouldn't that mean the single volume could be out in 3 weeks? Nangong Yan wondered. Wouldn't that be awesome? Nangong Yan scratched his head. Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's head back. Mission accomplished. On the way back to Nangong's place, Nangong Yan, gazing at the cherry blossoms in full bloom, finally said what he'd been building up to. Hey, how about we go cherry blossom viewing tomorrow? He heard them quickly discussing the matter and the verdict. Sounds great. Awesome. Let's get everything ready today then. That included food, drinks, containers, picnic blankets, the whole 9 yards. Oh, and everyone has to get up early. We gotta grab a good spot. Nangong Yan looked at Mashiro. Mashiro, think you can manage that? Mashiro. Nangong Yan, ultimate pineapple bread. Mashiro, I'll be up. The other girls rolled their eyes. Mashiro, the dessert fiend, couldn't resist the lure of ultimate pineapple bread. She'd do anything for that treat. Later that afternoon, Nangong Yan and the others were busy planning out the game, while Chihai practiced her singing in the yard. Yang, a little guy who wasn't usually playful, was sharpening his claws. Nangong Yan walked out of the activity room, dodging the buzz of his phone so he wouldn't bother the others. Ayano. What's up? Ida Ayano's voice came over the line. Hamura, why are you so calm? Haven't you been following the sales of your comic? We're making a game, so we're a bit busy. Is this guy being sarcastic? He has to be. Ayano sighed. Fine, you're calm and collected. I give. The magazine sold out. Nangong Yan finally broke his calm. You're kidding, right? Ayano caught herself. Okay, maybe I misspoke. It's sold out in most places, and the photos from the store is worse than the peak sales of the weekly magazine. So you called to tell me that I'm the reason? Of course. The internet's buzzing. Who's this Nangong guy? Monthly Girls is hilarious. You're officially a thing. Ayano sounded excited. Nangong Yan, so. Why aren't you freaking out? Ayano thought Nangong Yan sounded less like a high schooler and more like a grumpy old man. Nangong Yan said evenly, why would I? Isn't this, obvious? Sure, it's normal for monthly girls to be a hit, but the way you say it sounds like you're showing off. That's what Ayano thought. Fine, if you're not interested, I'll tell you something you will be interested in. Everything about Otanajizuka is done. Seriously. Finally, his voice had a bit of emotion, and Ayano chuckled. Yup. Ayano Ida, was on it. No biggie. Tomorrow. Are you free tomorrow? Let's go pick up the materials. Tomorrow. Nangong Yan hesitated. Afternoon good? We're going cherry blossom viewing in the morning. Cherry blossom viewing. Ayano's impatient voice hit Nangong Yan's ears. I'm coming too. Chapter 67. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Nangong Yan was stoked. Alright, let's hit that park near my place tomorrow at 4 a.m. Sweet. Cherry blossoms in the morning, then I'll drag you around in the afternoon for some research. Ayano mapped it out. Sounds good to me. Gotta run, see ya tomorrow. See ya. He hung up, muttering to himself, this is awesome. Ayano's on the ball. Who's calling now? Hello, Yenshir. Congrats. It was Saori. Thanks, Saori, I didn't think you'd even remember. Nangong Yan was genuinely surprised that Saori had remembered and even called to congratulate him. "Dude, I'm your friend, this is what friends do." That they chatted for a bit, and Nangong Yan got back to his preparations. Sunday, 3:30 in the morning, Nangong Yan was almost ready to go, and Hui was helping him pack food into the cooler. Nangong Yan wondered to Kato Megumi, "Think Mashiro's even awake?" "Nanami's on it, should be fine." Kato Megumi sounded doubtful. Just then, Nanami came downstairs and said to Nangong Yan with a sigh, "Yen-kun, sorry, couldn't wake Mashiro." Nangong Yan wasn't surprised. He turned to Chihai, "Chihai, remember how I got her attention yesterday?" Chihai's eyes lit up. "Right. I forgot." He bolted back to the room and yelled at Mashiro, who was curled up in a ball, "Mashiro, get up. It's morning." "Morning is a myth." Mashiro mumbled, eyes still closed. "Nanami. If you don't get up, that pineapple bread is gonna lose its pristine whiteness." He played his trump card, bam. Mashiro was out of the covers instantly. "No. Then get moving. Or we'll all leave and Mashiro will be left with nothing to eat." Nanami pressed her advantage. "Nanami, help me. Just get up, and everything else will fall into place." With some teamwork, everyone was finally ready, and the 6 people and 1 cat headed straight to their destination. On the way, Nangong Yan spoke to his tablet, "Sajiri, it's a bummer you can't make it." "Yeah, well, with so many people." Sajiri mumbled. She wanted to hang with her brother, but the cherry blossom viewing spot was too packed for Sajiri's comfort. Nangong Yan thought for a second. "How about I throw a cherry blossom viewing party for you in the yard tonight? We have cherry blossom trees in the yard, but there are only a couple, and they're not as pretty as the ones outside." "Brother, thanks, just being with you is enough." Sajiri's face flushed a little. "Don't be silly, that's what brothers are for." Nangong Yan puffed out his chest. The girls all looked on with envy. Yan was so sweet to his sister. "Whoa, look at the crowds." Lily was shocked, the others were just as surprised. They'd gotten there so early, and there was barely any space left. Any later, and they would have been totally out of luck. "Quick! Find a spot." Nangong Yan called out, and everyone scattered to scout. Nangong Yan picked a side, and just as he was moving towards the crowd, he heard a familiar voice. "Flame Lord, huh? Who knows me here?" He turned to the voice, and it was Nana, the pet store owner. So the young guy next to her must be her brother. "Nana. Small world. Didn't expect you'd be here too." Nangong Yan was genuinely surprised. "Yeah. What a coincidence. Flame Lord likes cherry blossoms too. If you don't mind, come join us." Nana offered generously. "Well, there are 6 of us in total." Nangong Yan didn't want to impose. "No worries, there's some open space next to us, the more the merrier. Besides, you brought Yangchan, right?" Nana said, reaching out to pet Xiaoba's head. Nangong Yan understood. Yang's brother was there too, it'd be perfect. "Alright, thanks Nana, I'll go get everyone." Soon, the whole gang, including the newly arrived Ayano Ida, was sitting together, chatting away. "Let me introduce everyone. This is Nana Ward, she owns the pet store and she's the one who adopted Yang's little bro." Nangong Yan introduced Nana to the girls. "Hello, everyone." The girls, except for Ayano, were surprised. They didn't know it was such a small world. "I'm Nangong Yan." Then he patted Yang, who was getting close to Xiaoba, and said, "This is Yang, Xiaoba's sister." "Hello, I'm Ward Youwu, a sophomore in high school." Youwu introduced himself politely. Nangong Yan replied casually, "So, we're the same age." After that, everyone went around the circle and gave a quick intro. "Oh. Speaking of which, Hamura-kun, I read your manga. It's awesome." Hearing that Ida Ayano was Nangong Yan's manga editor, Nana suddenly remembered. Nangong Yan couldn't help asking, "Nana, did you close up shop yesterday to buy comics? Thought he'd feel kinda bad if that was the case. Nope. I had Yowu buy it. Nana said with a smile. Yeah, I read the manga too. Teacher Nangong is amazing. Yowu praised him. His expression was serious, not just blowing smoke, so Nangong Yan waved his hand. Yowu, don't call me teacher, we're the same age. Yowu thought about it. Then Nangong-san. Whatever you want. We'll be seeing each other around, so you can call me Nangong or Yen. Nangong Yan said. Yowu nodded. He wasn't that close to Nangong Yan and didn't want to get too familiar right away. He seemed to be a stickler for etiquette. Speaking of which, is your name Miss Yang? Yowu asked, looking at Yang. Miss Yang. Nangong Yan and the girls were taken aback, realizing how formal Yowu was being. Nangong Yan said, that's right. She's so cool. Everyone. What? Xiaoyang's clearly adorable. How could she be cool? Thinking that, they suddenly saw Yang scolding her brother and nodded secretly. It seems, she really is cool. Yowu reached out and patted Yang's head. Surprisingly, Yang didn't flinch. This was a blow to the girls who Yang usually avoided. They didn't get this treatment. Why did this guy she just met? Maybe, it's because Xiaoyang didn't have time to react and he got away with it. Yeah. That must be it. They reassured themselves. Chapter 68. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Nangong Yan noticed their reactions and chuckled to himself. Yang was initially intimidated by Yowu. She thought he was a giant because he was so tall. Nangong Yan quietly explained that he was Nana's younger brother and related to Xiaoba, which put Yang at ease. Hachi seems thrilled to see Yang. Nana remarked, watching Hachi frolic around Yang. Yeah, it's been a week, hasn't it? And Yang seems much livelier too. Nangong Yan agreed, knowing Yang only got to see her little brother now. Nangong Yan glanced around at the cherry blossom trees. Being surrounded by blossoms felt incredible. If only we had a good breeze, he sighed. I'd love to see a cherry blossom rain. Do you really love cherry blossoms, Hamura? Nana asked, curious. I prefer the feeling of the blossoms falling to just hanging on the tree. I think that's when they're most beautiful. That was Nangong Yan's personal take. Cherry blossoms were best in motion. Wow. I never knew you felt that way, Hamura, Eri said, a little shy as she finally used Nangong Yan's given name. Speaking of which, I've got tons of cherry blossom ideas swirling around. Once your name is finished, our next project will be about cherry blossoms. What do you think? Nangong Yan's announcement piqued everyone's interest. Huh? What's the next project? Still a game? The manga editor asked first. Probably, right? But I think Ayano should answer that. Why me? What do I have to do with it? Ayano asked, puzzled. Because you're the key. If you can project my earnings high enough to justify making animated movies, I'll ditch games for good. Nangong Yan stated matter-of-factly. I see. Ayano suddenly asked, when will this project wrap up? Wait, what? You're going to make a new animated movie once this game's done. You aren't putting off the one you're already working on, right? Ayano realized something. Of course I'm doing that one. Which is why I need you even more. As soon as Nangong Yan said this, Ayano figured the next project would be delayed for ages. Suddenly, Ayano said weakly, maybe we should hold off. Let's finish this project before diving into the next one. Ayano's enthusiasm suddenly plummeted. No matter how close Nangong Yan was, completing the game in half a month, Ayano still felt that there will be several months away from the next work. Saying this now is like saying. Just kidding. So you're still making games? Nana looked at him in amazement. You already gave me a heart attack last time with the double comic thing, and now there's even more. You're like Iron Man. Nangong Yan touched his hair and smiled. You're too kind, Nana. Our club's full of talented people, and they're all here. I'm not doing this alone. Even though they're Yuwu's age, they're already so accomplished. Nana looked at her younger brother. If only Yuwu could be half as capable. Yuwu's expression didn't change, but Nangong Yan saw the corners of his eyes twitch. Poor Yuwu must feel like crap. Nangong Yan thought. So many other people's kids around, what a nightmare. After listening to Nana's words, everyone had to smile awkwardly but not rudely, and ended the topic. This kind of comparison with other people's children is a topic that I personally don't like to hear. Continuing will only make you bored. Ayano's phone suddenly rang. Who was calling so early? It's me. What? Extra orders from the bookstores? Wow. This is incredible. Mankey Bookstore is about to explode. Nangong Yan understood, the weekly sales were great, and bookstores were placing rush orders. That was great news, because more money was coming in. Maybe I can reach the standards for making a movie in a few days. Watching Ayano hang up, Nangong Yan asked, do you need to go back? Not at all. They were just excited and wanted to tell me, the editor who's contributed so much, the good news. Ayano replied, smiling. Now, not just Penglai, but mainland bookstores are ordering too. Mr. Nangong, you're on your way to the top. If this keeps up, that next project you mentioned should be happening soon. It could be a smooth transition. Ayano, suddenly interested again, started chattering excitedly, giving Nangong Yan advice and looking forward to the future. Everyone had different reactions. Most of the club members were happy, not just for Nangong Yan, but for themselves too. The siblings looked at Nangong Yan like they were watching a star rise. Why are you all looking at me like that? Nangong Yan spread his hands. Don't think of me as a big shot. I just want to share my favorite things with everyone. Comics, games, animation, movies, they're just tools. Everyone. You sound sincere, but also kinda pretentious, but it worked. The awkwardness the siblings had just felt vanished, and their eyes returned to normal. Looking at everyone, Nangong Yan was at a loss for words, so he went over to Yang and patted Xiaoba, her brother, as well. Xiaoba looked at her sister's new family with her big eyes in confusion. He didn't mean to dislike Nangong Yan. Nangong Yan, feeling satisfied, nodded decisively and said, Yang feels the best. Nana gave him a dark look. Was it really okay to say that about someone else's cat? Feeling embarrassed by her resentful stare, Nangong Yan thought for a moment, picked up Yang, and put her in her arms. Here, touch her and see for yourself. Nana. Everyone else. What kind of move is that? Nana, who had touched Yang last time, couldn't help but stroke Yang a few times. She suddenly looked surprised. She does feel great. Yang had probably leveled up a few times since last time. But Nangong Yan didn't explain. He just said proudly, see? I told you. Chapter 69. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing his face, Nana was pissed but couldn't argue. I changed the subject, focusing on Xiaoba. Xiaoba, you've gotta work hard. Gotta make life better than Yang Jiang, you hear? Xiaoba just looked at me, confused. Nangong Yan. Guarding Youwu. Better than Yang. Can a cat even be that good? But they knew Nana was just saying it out of frustration, which just showed how naturally cute and gentle she was. A gust of wind blew. Yes. Here it comes. The wind. Nangong Yan had been waiting for this. Swish, from out of nowhere, he pulled out a bunch of paper, pens, and a camera. He gave the pens and paper to Ireli and Mashiro and the camera to everyone else. Quick. Snap some pics if you can. Or sketch. He yelled, then he started sketching the beautiful cherry blossom scene. Stunned, everyone went along with it. Ireli and Mashiro each picked a spot and started drawing. Shiwa, Megumi, Nanami, even Ayano and the Ashimori siblings grabbed the camera and started snapping away. Ayano was the happiest of the bunch. Anything to help Nangong Yan with his comics. The Ashimori siblings realized that you could feel his passion for comics in every panel. Nangong Yan finished 3 sketches before the wind died down. When he looked up, he was shocked. Just like the time he practiced Tai Chi here, he'd attracted a crowd. When they saw he was done drawing, people started exclaiming, "What a talented young man." Many came forward to ask for a painting, but he couldn't give them away, so he had to refuse. They weren't giving up, but Ayano Ida stepped in. "Sorry, everyone. Teacher Nangong needs these for research." "Why do I call him Teacher Nangong?" Ayano grinned. "Because Teacher Nangong is a cartoonist. If you like his work, pick up the latest issue of Mankey Weekly. His comics are in there. Your support is appreciated." Ayano handled the crowd like a pro. When they dispersed, she turned to find Nangong Yan and the others staring at her in shock. Feeling the heat, Ayano blurted out, "Geez, why are you looking at me like that?" Everyone. "Hello. A little reaction, please." Ayano exclaimed. Nangong Yan and the others sighed in relief. "Back to normal." Ayano rolled her eyes. These guys were too much, but whatever, it was all in good fun. She knew they were playing along, so she went with it. "She's a true comic editor," Shiyu said. She diffused the situation and promoted Lord Yen all at once. "Well, I just went with the flow. What else could I do?" Ayano said. Everyone was focused on the painting, so don't blame me for steering them towards his work. Fair point. They probably would have done the same, just not as quickly. After all, she was a pro. But editor Ayano is incredibly dedicated. I really sighed, then smirked. Thank goodness Homura has you as an editor. If you were like Mano from Monthly Girls, oof. Unable to hold back, Ayano jumped in. Don't even mention that guy. He's a complete nightmare. We don't have editors like that in this business. At least, not at Mankey Bookstore. Ayano wasn't sure she could speak for the entire industry. Everything was his idea. He gave the comic artists the strangest suggestions, changed comic titles on a whim, and even lost the original manuscripts. With an editor like that, the artist would probably want to die. The fact that Mr. Tsudo from Monthly Girls put up with Mano for so long was astonishing. Speaking of which, Homura-kun mentioned that there are normal people in Monthly Girls. Isn't Nozaki-kun's editor, Editor Mayumi, one of them? Hui asked, seeing everyone was on the topic. Oh. Only Hui noticed that. What about the rest of you? Nangong Yan asked, confirming Kato Megumi's suspicion. Hey, Lord Yen, are we about to get some spoilers? Do tell. Nana, the guardian, asked, stopping everyone. True, and while I know you'd never tell anyone what you hear, there are too many loose lips here, so let's not risk it. Thanks, Nana. Nangong Yen nodded. Nana smiled. I really whimpered. Yen, I'm sorry, if I hadn't brought it up. Nangong Yen waved it off. It's nothing, really. Don't worry about it, I really. Speaking of which, with all the excitement, I forgot to ask about your drawing. How many did you get done? Nangong Yen said, hoping to distract her. I really took the bait. You think everyone's as fast as you? What was that supposed to mean? Was she saying I draw fast? It wasn't a bad thing to say. I only did one. Nangong Yen looked up. From this angle, it was really beautiful. That's great, hold on to it. This is crucial material. If it gets damaged, we might not get a chance to replace it next year. Nangong Yen warned, then looked at Mashiro. Mashiro, what about you? How many paintings did you do? 2. Mashiro stared directly at him. Was she looking for praise? He smiled, ruffled her hair, and said, that's amazing. 2 pictures, Mashiro. Can I see them? Mashiro nodded and handed them over. Nangong Yan looked them over. He noticed Mashiro's paintings didn't have any people. They were focused on the way the cherry blossoms were falling. Irelis had people and scenery, a good balance. From that perspective, the gap between Ireli and Mashiro wasn't that big, of course, in terms of comics. Chapter 70. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Nangong Yan might be a fast artist, but that's mainly for comics. When it comes to real artistry, the emotional investment is pretty much the same, no matter the medium. Where is everybody? How'd the photo shoot go? Nangong Yan asked, eager to see the photos. Awesome. Great. We got some prime material here. Nangong Yan was glued to the camera, flipping through the images. Whoa. This one of Nanami is legit. She'd taken a selfie with cherry blossoms fluttering around her, way better than the shots anyone else got. Huh? Really? Chihai's cheeks flushed. She just couldn't shake her shyness, but who knew shy Chihai had it in her to take a selfie? Nangong Yan was genuinely surprised. Totally legit. I'm super happy with it. Nangong Yan made a mental note to get an extra print made. If Yanjun likes it, then I'm happy. Chihai cupped her face, secretly thrilled. Yes, Chihai was the winner this time around. The others, seeing her beaming face, felt a pang of regret. Why hadn't they thought of taking a selfie? Somewhat reluctantly, they packed up their photos and sketches. Nangong Yan clapped his hands. Alright, chow time. It's gotta be breakfast time by now, right? That he pulled out all the food from the insulated carrier and said to guard Nana, who was also getting her stuff together, Hey Nana, wanna grab something to eat? Help yourself. Sounds good. Guard Nana smiled and put her own food and Nangong Yan's together. And this is for Yang. He pulled out another container, opened it, and placed it in front of her. Meow, can I share with my brother and Xiaolu and the others? Yang asked Nangong Yan. What a sweetheart. Always thinking of her brother, he reached out and stroked the little cat. Nangong Yan nodded. Of course, it's your food, you decide. If you're still hungry later, let me know, and I'll whip something up when we get back. Meow. Yay. Thanks. Yang purred her thanks. No problem. We're family. Remember, kiddo, you thank other people who help you, but you never have to thank me. Meow, okay, got it. Yang nodded silently, but in her heart, she was saying, thank you for finding me, thank you for giving me a special name, thank you for always taking care of me, thank you for being there for me, thank you for finding my brother, thank you, my family. Meow. No thanks. The little cat suddenly said proudly. Nangong Yan was taken aback for a second, then smiled warmly. Nana, Yang wants to share her food with Xiaoba. Is that cool with you? Nangong Yan asked. He felt like he needed to ask before letting his cat eat stuff that wasn't his. Totally. Who am I to object to siblings getting along? Guard Nana replied understandingly. Same goes for us. If Yang-chan runs out of food, she can have some of Zaihachi's. Nangong Yan agreed. After talking to Yang, everyone started chatting and eating like they were at a dinner party. Hold up. Nangong Yan stopped Ida Ayano, who was about to crack open a can of beer. Isn't this supposed to be a business trip? No way, I'm driving you around to collect reference material later. You don't think I'm that unreliable, do you? Ayano snapped. Sorry, just checking. Wouldn't want you getting into trouble, right? He put on his I'm doing this for your own good face. Yeah, I know, you mean well. Now let's eat. Ayano dismissed the topic. Huh? Yen Jun is going to gather material? With editor Ida? Chihai couldn't help but ask, overhearing their conversation. Yep, she told me yesterday, then I brought up cherry blossom viewing. otherwise she wouldn't have shown up today. Nangong Yan explained to Nanami. Ayano grinned, looking pleased. I'm one lucky woman. I was thinking about trying Hamura's cooking, and the opportunity just landed in my lap. So, what do you think? Hold your horses. You haven't even finished eating yet. I'll give it a shot in a sec. Ayano said calmly. Wow, Yen, your cooking is seriously good. Even better than I expected. Ayano had figured Nangong Yan's cooking skills would be average at best, even if he was decent. But he was on par with some big-name chefs. And this stuff had been sitting out for a while, it must be amazing fresh. Glad you like it. Eat up. With that, Nangong Yan stopped fussing over her and joined the general chatter. After the outdoor breakfast, guard Nana said goodbye to Nangong Yan and everyone. Yen Jun, my brother, Xiaoba, Xiaolu, and I are taking off. Gotta get back and open the shop. Okay, Nana, go get your work done. I'll bring Yang over to hang out when I get a chance. Sounds good. We'll be waiting. Then, she took her brother and the two cats and waved goodbye. Watching them leave, Kasumigakaka Shiyu stepped forward again. Feeling a little sad to see them go, Nangong Yan. Was she lying in wait for him? Nangong Yan stroked the little cat's fur, then said matter-of-factly, yeah, from the look on Yang's face, she's missing her brother again. Yang was also staring in the direction they had left. Kasumigakaka Shiyu wasn't going to let him wriggle out of it that easily. I was talking about you, not Xiaoyang. It's not like I'm devastated. Isn't it normal to see your friends leave? This time, Nangong Yan was being genuine. He was perfectly calm. Sure, he had a soft spot for Nana, but what guy didn't, right? Kasumigakaka Shiyu had chosen the wrong angle. If she had asked Nangong Yan if all the girls in their club had a crush on him, Nangong Yan could have confidently said, yes, but she didn't ask. If she'd made a direct move, Nangong Yan would never lie about it. Seeing Nangong Yan's calm demeanor, Kasumigakaka Shiyu wondered, am I really overthinking this? Alright, you're right. She gave up on this line of questioning. Lily, who had been about to ask Nangong Yan why he called people by their first names, decided to drop it. After all, if they were friends, it was normal to call people by their first names. Ida Ayano, standing next to her, looked disappointed. Why did the interrogation end so soon? It was so short and weak. But Nangong Yan had no idea what she was thinking. Otherwise, he would have had a blast teasing her.